a subject for us to discuss, and
Yeah.
and a new beginnings, kind of came to me, and
I like that.
and so if you don't mind, I guess I'll start off with that.
I don't mind at all.
So I'd like to speak from a place, where what I'm saying is useful to you, and has some wisdom with it. And since I don't normally sit in that place in my day-to-day life for some reason, I don't choose that. I have to take a moment and get quiet to come into my experiencing my higher self as myself instead of my personality. Um,
Hello?
yeah. So
Oh, yeah.
so um, so on the subject of new beginnings, the point would be is well, where do we want to start from? Do we want to start from a place that we're dissatisfied as to where we are? Or do we want to start from a place where we fully accepted who we are and have self-realized our higher self into our moment-by-moment experience of who we are embodied? That instead of just the instincts and the personality that we were kind of given when we showed up here, and instead, we're moving with our essence that moves through eternity as our experience of ourself, instead of a cumulative adding up of our previous life's experiences, and embodying ourselves as to whatever degree we felt like we had some success or worthiness or or damage. So we've constructed ourselves according to the context of our life instead of our self-awareness. We
Yeah.
we took the world's view on circumstances and applied them to ourselves as our defining moment. So who we are in each moment. And so for a new beginning to occur, you have to strip yourself down from everything that you accepted from anyone, including yourself, that was less than, for want of a better word, divinely aware, self-realized, actualized, enlightened. So the truth of you that sets you free should be the you that you experience yourself to be if you're going to start over again. So the new beginning is taking on that level of truth that moves beyond context, beyond circumstantial truths, and into the realm of cosmic and universal. So how do we do that? How do we have a new beginning from the universal and move the universal into the context of our singular embodiment? We no longer have, I no longer have multiple decades to search and stay on my search for meaning and search for purpose and search for truth, right? It's time for me to open up to having realized my purpose and the meaning of my life, and the actuality of who I am when I'm not self-limiting and when I'm not allowing others to define who and what I am. So our new beginning then begins with a choice that we're not here to fix ourselves. And we stop that. We're not here to progress. No, stop that. You're here to know yourself. Not to try to make yourself into some sort of final result that's off into the future and nobody knows what's really going to happen. The objective in the new beginning is this moment and no other moments, no future moments. So in this moment, we begin anew by experiencing ourselves exactly as we are and saying, okay, I'm good with this. Not that you're happy or satisfied, but you've assessed what you are and felt it all and accept that those are your actual circumstances. That's all. There's no guilt and there's no glory. You know, things just are the way they are. And until you know exactly what they are, and don't sugarcoat it, and don't become a pessimist about things, but just say, okay, who and what am I really in this moment? And if you take responsibility, as you should, that you've become exactly who you are as a result of your choices and nothing else, then with your no longer blaming circumstances or others for anything that's ever happened to you and anything that's ever damaged your sense of worth and value.
Yeah.
So we're feeling what that is. What the sum total of all of our experiences that create the feeling of what it is to be Ariel right in this moment, to David right in this moment. And we just take it all in. We don't hide from our circumstantial truths. You know, the little things that we're not proud of or that we're embarrassed by. You know, at least we don't hide it from ourselves anymore. We're self-aware of who and what we are and who and what we've been here, you know, and how we've conducted ourselves and how we move and what we say and do. But now that you've taken responsibility for that instead of blaming others, you're now in the flow. So just feel how the flow begins the moment you accept yourself as you are, without demanding that there be an improvement before things are okay. Allow things to be okay as they are. So that's how you open the gate to eternity, is by being okay with how things are in this moment. And there's so many thoughts that we've owned of dissatisfaction and anger and jealousy and feelings of lack and disability that are comprising, you know, this you that you're experiencing yourself at in this moment, and the me that I'm experiencing myself. And so, but we have to be okay with that. Those are only our circumstances, and they're temporary. You know, you're awakening. You've asked for enlightenment and a self-realization and awakening. What do you think happens when that's been granted? And now you wake up. You wake up where you are in the circumstances that you put yourself in because of a lower level of consciousness. You know, you acted in accordance with your self-awareness, understanding, and degree of spiritual wisdom that you allowed yourself to have. And as a result of not giving yourself enough freedom, you made a lot of mistakes because you kept yourself bound by something other than maintaining your self-awareness on your eternal truth. You know, you have to stay for your new beginning to happen. That begins with the experience of your truth coming into that flow as it begins when you've accepted who and what you are. So, being at peace with who and what you are in the moment begins a flow. And in that flow, the truth that will set you free is there. The self-realization comes in after self-acceptance. Because if you've got to do something before you can be your truth here, then your truth is going to respect that and say, okay, there's somebody that wants some learning and understanding in a way that is going to take a long time for it to occur. If there's such thing as an instantaneous realization, an awakening in the moment, that's the only thing worth is being awake in this moment. So be okay with yourself exactly as you are. All of these pains and suffering and solidity and suppressed emotions and everything, the false alarm. Everything was okay, and everything's still okay. And in that, turning the alarms off and saying everything's okay, we're good with who we are here, then every aspect of yourself can relax and open and surrender, and remember himself and herself. Allow there to be a restoration. Allow your polarity to be cleaned up by your universal nature awakening as you. You just wake up and you're in those circumstances, and those circumstances, are painful, but that's where you wake up, and however painful your circumstances actually are, when you add a bunch more consciousness into that, you're just a lot more aware of how messed up things have been. But with you being okay with it and being grateful for the opportunity to awaken regardless of your circumstances, now you can begin to have some fun. Setting all those prerequisites up for yourself before you can be, do, and have something is nuts. So there's no more prerequisites for your self-realization. Whatever there were has brought you to here and now in this moment, where you're being suggested that there's a real choice here and easily achievable in this moment. And so just give yourself some approval. You're okay. You always have been okay. And you always will be okay. You're a valuable being here. Already, even in your unconsciousness, you've chosen to be a benefit to others. So you're really not carrying that much baggage. It feels like a lot. It's horrible. It's painful. It's disturbing. But wake up anyway, right now in this moment, in the middle of all your disturbances, and be at peace with the fact that you're disturbed. All the things that disturb you, that's okay. You're waking up anyway. Right here and right now. It's your new beginning. It's my new beginning. With that, your body can actually take a deep breath and have a cathartic release. Yeah, I've been so tough on myself and so unwilling to really say, this is my reality, and this is how it works for me, and this is how I want it to continue to work for me, unless I can figure out how it can become even better. But communicate your needs clearly to the world, so that you get what you want. You'll stop dealing with people as soon as you find out that what you want from them they're not going to give you. You can move on. Your self-awareness of your needs and your desires and your must-haves. And once you accept yourself, you've let go of all of the reasons why it's impossible for you to have what you want. All the reasons why you shouldn't. Why you don't deserve it. Let me take a little break. I need to say something to Claudio. Be right back.
Okay.
Hey, Claudio. Okay, I'm back.
Okay, welcome back.
Okay. I've had, I just drank a little coconut water. There's a brand at Costco I can buy, it's about $1 a bottle because I guess it's made right here. And so I'm having like 6 or 8 of them a day.
Wow.
Far more than Tahisha used to do. So I almost don't drink water anymore.
Wow, you're definitely hydrated.
Yeah. There's something.
Wow.
There's something about I guess the electrolytes and salts and things that if it's if it doesn't have sodium in it, it can't really get in and out of your cells.
Yeah, that's why I use Celtic sea salt before I drink anything to make sure I'm getting those minerals back into my body, like magnesium and 3 different types. I was doing coconut water every day, but it feels like a lot and it's kind of expensive.
So I physically I'm actually having a new beginning right now.
Wow.
I've next week will be 2 months of my going to the gym 3 times a week, and
How do you feel?
I feel good. And for the last 2 weeks, I've been noticing that I look different in my clothes, and
That's awesome.
yeah, and so I'm adding some bike riding to that, and so yeah, so I'm haven't exercised regularly like this for 30 years, and it feels good. And I'm at the point.
Wow.
I'm at the point now where I look forward to it. And
Aw, that's
and
awesome.
so
Yeah,
it's
I mean, it's, do you go with Spike?
yeah, yeah. So
That's awesome.
so yeah. So there's a new beginning there for me too. You know,
That's cute.
my health is important to me, and Tahisha was a
For sure.
big inspiration in that. You know.
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah, of course. Um, I feel like Mexico, like, did good for your, like, overall, like, body, mind, and soul, you know?
Yeah, and I haven't invested myself here yet the way that the way I want to. You know, I want to be integrated into the community here.
Yeah.
I want to, you know, be involved where I can make an effect with doing sessions for people, and you know, I appreciate you know, your continual willingness to have sessions, but I want to have this be actually it's what I enjoy the most, and so it's what I should be doing the most.
Yeah, I agree. It brings you a lot of joy. I'm happy to do sessions. You really just put me in states where I ask those questions, and they're challenging a lot of the time.
Yes.
I
Okay.
like to be challenged, so.
Okay, so let's go back to new beginnings. And of course, everything that I say is what I'm working through and feeling in the moment, and you know, the purpose is for you to follow along with me and release yourself, you know, through whatever it is I'm suggesting that you do. So back to that again. Can we really just grab hold of our personality, our identity, and merge our higher self with that, and let whatever harmonization, whatever sort of harmonic resonance occurs between the two? Well, I can tell you what's going to happen. Everything that you thought and did and decided, all the choices that you made in lower consciousness, when your radiance is consuming you, there's no input that's relevant other than that. You know, everything else can't compete. So for that new beginning, a transformative one, you know, where the past is, where the present is transmuted into the future in the same moment, where the future is your opening into your wholeness, you know, the fullness of who you are, your competency, you know, your wisdom. So without making that a goal and striving for it, because that doesn't work instantly. You know, whatever you do with great discipline and intent, you know, changes things, of course, but that's, but if you hadn't validated your lack and you hadn't identified in such a limited, small-minded way, then it wouldn't have been so hard. You wouldn't have had to work so hard or been so intent to transform yourself. You would have just, in the moment, self-realized, oh, I'm back. went to sleep for a minute. You know, that's what an awakening is like. You know, it's just a, oh, okay, wow. Wow, I really went dark there. I'm glad I'm back. So, be that right now. Notice how dark and unconscious your life was, and that something just changed and you're back. You know, this is your truth. The truth that sets you free, level of truth. The truth that isn't defined and categorized. The truth that's magnificent and wondrous. So allow yourself to awaken by letting go of the need to blame others, by letting go of the need to plan anything for the future, by letting go of all of your feelings of unworthiness and don't know what to do or how to do it. You know, you just come in to where you are, go and have that be the signal that this was the time and the place, and this is the moment where you come into your body, fully awakened, fully realized, and start operating here as your truth. A true beginning. The new beginning, Alpha. Not that you have to be an alpha female or an alpha male. You are one. You know, you're just too big, too aware, too self-aware to be tricked by anybody's bullshit. You know, so you're the sovereign of your life, and you conduct yourself beautifully. So whatever part of you is uncomfortable with that, be okay with the fact that you were that limited, so that you were uncomfortable being successful, uncomfortable being vulnerable, and uncomfortable just being true love. So a new beginning requires true love, to be recognized by you that it is you, and you open to that true love within your own heart and soul and your mind, and allow that to transform everything that was lost and hurt. Every part of you that was self-condemned. Yeah. Okay, that opens something up. So just stay in that opening with the choice to be here as your wholeness. Now allow every other aspect of yourself to connect with that and begin to resonate with that, and allowing all of it to be changed as necessary. Whatever state any part of your consciousness is in any circumstance, that you wake up right there to the divine and start resonating with the divine, and that will begin to shift your shift how you deal with things, so that you resolve as quickly as possible all of the behaviors, the results of all the behaviors that you did when you weren't making every decision in your life wisely. So that's a big one for me. It's my decision-making process so that I get what I want is really lacking. And so when I say something like that that's true, and the circumstances kind of stuck my attention, you know, so that I'm focused on that before I can awaken anymore, then it's the same process again. Okay. You don't have to figure out who did it to you, because you're not blaming anyone else. You're taking full responsibility. So all you have to do is notice it. Boom, you're unconscious, and you're in the midst of your awakening at the same time. Okay, it was that, and now it's this. Got it. As soon as you take responsibility for your every self-diminishment, then the reason for it being there has been fulfilled. Doesn't need to be there anymore. Boy, that's shifting some things around for me. Yeah, my heart's been so tight, you know, so shut down. You know, holding so much pain and sorrow and regret. But it's okay. Everything we did was the best that we could do under this self-awareness and identity and personality that we adopted as who and what we were. We did good, even with our limitations. So we did good. We're not criticizing ourselves anymore, and we're not blaming anybody else. It's no blame. It's just simply circumstances. And the beautiful thing is that you're alive. And you have circumstances. And the game begins, the new beginning. So what would if your life were a movie, and we're at the point in the movie now where your life has been played up to this moment, and with the hero's journey and now you're at the point where you awaken and self-realize. How does the movie move forward from there? What happens? When somebody self-realizes and moves through life in wholeness and holiness, you know, how much control does the world have on them anymore? And how much control does that person have on the world? In other words, if you're able to move in a synchronistic dance with the universe, then what are the possibilities for you in life? If you are the flow and the flow is you, and the flow is truth and grace and love, then how much better can it get in this moment, right now? With your radiant grace and love and joy and bliss flowing now through your body. Just look at it. Feel it. There's a flow. And what are the characteristics of that flow? Grace, joy, bliss, love, excitement, wonder. And yet it's been such an overwhelming pain in the ass to be you up until this moment that is all merged into who and what you are. And so sometimes the divine melody isn't so apparent, even though it's already half transformed you. You know, there's a lot of shit, there's a lot of darkness, there's a lot of denial, there's a lot of miscommunications, misunderstandings. So just acknowledge that it's okay that all of that happened, and it was nobody's fault. Except yours, but you're not blaming yourself. You're taking responsibility. Yeah, I lived my life the way I did, and I ended up like this. Right? That's pretty straight. That's pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
I lived my life the way that I did, and I ended up like this. And you know, I made lots of choices, and here I am.
Yeah.
So forgiveness of everyone, most importantly yourself. So just feel everything that you are and forgive everything about it. All of the actions, all of the thoughts, all of the beliefs, all of the decisions. So what does it take once you open up and you're flowing? And there is a radiant thing going on with you. You know, feel that radiance within you. And notice it. And just keep opening up into that radiance that is you. Everything that's in pain, from there, as you feel your pains, open them up to this radiance. It's your radiance that's making you aware of them. Just continue the embrace. Go all the way. Feel it all the way, and then it's done for. you're done with it. You know, it unravels, dissipates, it dissolves itself. And moves back into pure potential, or moves into the next chapter of whatever it is. So everything that's played the game with you about your limitations and how limiting they are, all of those jobs, those positions have been done away with. There's no more need, and you don't need to keep that staff around you, the staff that complains about you in your own head. You can let all those beings and all those purposes, to have been fulfilled by your choosing to fully awaken and realize and move as your wholeness, beginning right now. You don't have to get rid of anything if you've opened and embraced your wholeness. Your own awakening, your own realization naturally changes everything. Because the way that you're configured is how you're configured for your chronic state of consciousness. When that long-term state of consciousness makes a shift and opens up and receives part of your wholeness, part of your cosmic awareness, Yeah, that was some pretty dense stuff for me. It's still dense. But it's moving.
Definitely feel that.
Yeah, so you don't have to try to change. Once your beingness shifts, everything it's like a polar shift. When the Earth has a polar shift and tilts itself in another direction, then the Sahara Desert becomes farm ground again. The weather shifts and everything else that happens according to the physical placement of the earth. Each time that changes, the changes are effortless. So you just have to awaken enough to make better decisions and stay in the flow and move wisely. Make sure that your lifetime purpose is clear to you, and that anything that needs to be done today, you're doing that. But again, it's from the point of view because I just said that from the point of view of not having attained my higher self state of consciousness. And so I have to take a second look at that. And remember that I have to take enough time on that part of full responsibility for my circumstances so that the energetic construct of my circumstances actually shift. There is some sort of time component into a instantaneous awakening. There's a point where you allow the shifts to happen. And the greater you can get into an allowance of them happening and moving through your body and shifting and vibrating at different rates, and as you can sit in that willingness to experience whatever it is, the faster it occurs. So let's take a couple of minutes and just sit in whatever it is that we're in, not judge it in any way, take responsibility for it, own it, it's ours, it's our experience. And don't try to do anything else except just sit in it and own it. Yep, this is mine. No credit, no blame, it's mine, my creation. All of the blame that you've given yourself over the years has created a tremendous weight of shutdowns, of limitations of your flowing to your potential, or flowing even in self-awareness and truth. So as you open and that flow begins to move through you again, you know, it's a new experience for you. And even though there's a ton of books on this subject, none of them's ever really communicated to me enough to where I can say, I know I learned from a book everything I needed to know on how to awaken and be free. Bear with me one more minute. Thanks. Sorry. Oh. Ariel?
I'm here.
Okay. You have dogs?
No, the ambulance just came out around the corner and it scared me. That's why I was kids.
So what does it take to make the decision effectively enough that everything actually changes? You know, you don't just have an epiphany, have a moment or an afternoon or an evening. It's like those people that die and come back and are transformed the rest of their lives as a result of that one experience. Okay, so how do you have the impact of a near-death experience, of hanging out with divine, universal, unconditionally loving, benevolent, wise beyond belief beings? Can you just open to that level of experience? Of course you can. You just do it. If there's a Christ consciousness, a Buddha consciousness, a Krishna consciousness, whatever the peak you think experience it is, that whatever master you look to as being the best, whatever was true for them is true for everyone else too. Not circumstantially true, but eternally true. So if you're the same as the best that's ever been, and you are, then the only difference is the circumstances. How much you became real and true in a whole, in your wholeness. And I don't want to say what's the roadmap for that. I want to say, wake up and be free. Let it happen to you. And in your letting it happen to you, you let it happen for the people around you too. You let it happen for me. So we should primarily be interacting with the friends that we have that are looking for their best, the best version of themselves to come out right now. You know, they're intent on having a magnificent experience of themselves. So that's who your friends should be, the ones that are intent on experiencing themselves with a sense of wonder and amazement and bliss. So whoever's up for that, that's the people you want to share a reality with as you're moving in your transformation. And to the degree that you need to do this on your own alone too. Because the more that you do this on your own, in your own space, where the flow becomes you and you become the flow, then you stay there when you're interacting with others. And that's all you're really asking for, is for you to be at your best with others. For you to be the you that is true to yourself and true to everybody else. and does it in a way that's non-destructive, that's life supporting, that's consciousness supporting, that's freedom supporting. With no blame for anybody, because everybody's here to open and awaken, and we're all doing the best we can. You can be a little bit greedy and spend your time with the people who are the furthest along in that journey. It's okay to have a life hack of being with a guru or a group of transcendent beings. That's the whole point, isn't it? You know, heaven on earth. The divine in form. God within creation. So for much of this is my ego, my personality, my identity that's asking the questions and finding this a difficult process. And so you actually have to feel that sense of self, that thing that is you, that's been defined as you, that's afraid. And that's where you have to wake up. That's where your radiance begins its work. Opening up to your radiance within your suffering is what saves you. I should do a painting of that. Boy, the flow's getting really good now. So how much more? You know, I get a little bit of the way there and focus on it and achieve some shifts and gains, and then I wake up again unconscious and say, okay, now what do I do? You know, so each time that you realize that you've gone unconscious again, then there should be some simple rules. As soon as you realize that you're operating unconsciously, you're no longer in control. You're no longer in charge. Your job has changed to waving the white flag of surrender. You're surrendering yourself back to the universe, because universal truth and universal wholeness is you. So you surrender your defined aspects, the lost and fallen and injured aspects of yourself. You surrender those to the divine and the eternal, and you say, Here I am, a sinner. And I'm here now to be whole. Wow. Yeah, more of your life has to unwind. You know, that's this solidity, the tension, the pain, the suffering, all gets to dissipate right now. You know, just let it. Stop holding on to your limitations. It's a new day, it's a new life, it's a new world for me, and I'm feeling good, right?
Yes. Feels new. Very nice.
But it's such a shift, wow. So much density, so much unconsciousness, you know, unraveling. Well, the pauses got pretty long. So what's next in the new beginning? How does this new beginning stay in the flow of truth, of understanding, of wisdom? Well, as long as there's pain and tightness and suffering in the body. That's where you open up and embrace it. Open up and let it go. Not pushing it out, but opening up to fully understand and feel it and understand it. And when you fully acknowledge something, then it's fulfilled the purpose of its being. So every one of those things are still in between you and your instantaneous awakening. Connect to them all. Look at them, feel at them, know them, understand them. And with that understanding, they dissipate, they unwind, and they unravel. They're used as fuel for the fire of transformation. You feel it, you acknowledge it, and you let it go. It's not supposed to be you, an irresistible force and an immovable object. You're both movable. And you're both kind of irresistible. Enough so that there's a flow between you and your experience of reality. So the point that you wake up is the moment that you realize that you fell asleep again, and you're faced with a problem and some unconsciousness, some solidity, some pain, some suffering, and you're in the midst of it. No, you open up to it. You feel it. You open to knowing it, understanding it, acknowledging it, learning everything that you can from it. And as the flow begins to move again, it begins to move faster and faster and faster. The more that you keep your attention on that, on whatever it is that you feel, you just stay in that. It's like surfing a wave of responsibility, where you're connected to freedom and suffering at the same time, and you're the surfer on that wave. One foot in freedom and one foot in suffering. And so you're right at the point of creation and destruction. The past limitations are being destroyed, and the new creations of opening into freedom and ability is, creating a new world for you. A new universe, actually. A new you. So that's the point. That's a lot of background noise for some reason. The new beginning. Yeah, some really stuck areas in my neck, in my shoulders, my trapezius, and all those areas there. And now I can just open up and feel it and have it move instantly. And so this type of confronting creates a flow that actually physically moves you. You move from pain to pain, to limitation to limitation, and you open right into it, and it just gets absorbed into the flow. So there's no dams anymore. There's no stuck. The content is all still there, but there's no more barriers to it. You just open into and to feeling everything, and not confronting any of it as a problem, because you're not blaming anybody else. You're taking responsibility yourself, but you're not blaming yourself either. You're just assessing the feeling and understanding what is. And as soon as you feel something that's hard and you just fully grabbed it, and in knowing that it had been heard and understood, whatever that was, whatever that creation was, was embraced and understood by you to the point where the lies within it dissolved away. And so the fabric of its existence disappeared. Oh, that is a nice one. Yeah, I've got some good friends. I've got some great supporters. And they support me even though I'm unconscious nearly every moment of every day. So beginning to feel free in your own body. I mean, what a blessing that would be, you know. And I'm beginning to sense that how possible it is for me. And there's some horrible things that I'm still dealing with. This pain in my neck right now is just, you know, seems impossible, you know, to resolve. But each second that I'm connected to it, it opens up more and more and resolves more and more. So this is working for me. And I hope for you too. A continual realization that as soon as I feel the pain and the sorrow and the regret and the suffering, that's my signal that I went unconscious, and now I embrace it until the flow begins, and I continue to embrace it in the flow, so it flows faster and faster and faster. So the first thing that you can confront, and then the next one, and then the next one. And the content really doesn't matter once the flow begins. Doesn't matter what it is. If it's limitations, pains, and sorrows, and suffering, and ego, all you have to do is let it flow through you.
Thank you for that gentle reminder.
Pardon me?
Thank you for that reminder.
Oh, sure. Yeah, it's just as simple as staying in the flow. And if you're not in the flow, then you connect with what is. You connect with everything that's solid until it begins to flow, and it flows quickly as soon as you're not judging it as being good or bad, and who was responsible and who wasn't. Because you can't do this and be a victim. Because you gave somebody else the power of creation over you. When somebody else is in charge, then, you know, what can you do? Well, things are refining nicely for me right now. Yeah, my first smile of the evening. Hmm. Well, I miss Tahisha.
Yeah. We talked to her.
Yeah, we've chatted a couple of times the last couple of days, but you know, it'll take me the rest of this year to kind of sort things out to the point where I'm, you know, not up to my eyeballs in debt, and so, you know, we'll see what happens when I'm back on my feet.
Just the rest of the year,
Well,
like process things, or
yeah, it's 3 or 4 months of things to grow and you know, be profitable, and yeah. I made quite a financial mess of myself the last 2.5 years.
yeah, you have big dreams.
Yeah, it was nuts. I was already in the best shape of my life. All I had to do was do little things. And there was no reason for me to move.
I think you just got, you know, you're a teacher, how to, and then you got excited and you ran with it.
Yeah, it was nuts. It was absolutely
Yeah.
nuts. And created a lot of suffering, a lot of beautiful experiences too. But you know, I would have preferred it happen another way. You know, I would have preferred to go from success to success instead of from success to losing everything.
Yeah.
And it's just pure greed on my part, you know, just blinded me to any sort of prudence.
Yeah, I think the possibility, you know, what you were sitting on.
Yeah, but I could have, you know, instead of thinking that I can make millions of dollars per month, you know, I could have done one little machine and had it down the street and done something to make an extra $20,000 a month. What's wrong with that?
Yeah.
You know, we'd have had a nice little business and had a place to go a few minutes away, and stayed right where we were and enjoyed ourselves.
Yeah.
And invested 1/10 of my money instead of all of it.
Yeah. I think, you know, it just, it's kind of, yeah, of course, there are things you should have done differently, but, you know, it's quite the experience. I think you learned a lot, you know, a lot of do's and don'ts. Sure.
Yeah. Okay. So that's what we get into, you know. So there was a bunch of regret there, and there's a loss, and you know, and a bunch of pain and sorrows created, and the only way that I can deal with it effectively is to say, for some reason, I did all that to myself, and it was seemingly needless.
I think it's, yeah, I mean, ultimately, right, we put ourselves in situations, yeah, for sure,
but the way that I'm talking right now, I'm talking from an unconscious point of view, and regretting the past, and instead of waking up, you know, I was being a victim there, even if it was just being a victim of my own unconsciousness.
Yeah, but is there a point in time when knowing you're unconscious and saying you're unconscious as a result of like, so I guess what I'm saying is like, is it just as black and white as being unconscious and conscious and so not feeling the things you felt, or does that make you a victim? Because you're
No,
saying
if
you
you're,
don't want to be
if,
there, but you're
if,
saying unconsciously that you are. Unconsciously, you take ownership. Am I getting that right?
I don't know, let's see. As soon as you're in the mode of trying to figure it out, that's your signal to yourself that you're not being yourself. Okay?
Got it.
So as soon as I start blaming myself or blaming somebody else, that's my signal that, okay, your consciousness is back into a polarized state of right and wrong and good and evil, and I'm the only one that's right, and yet I'm completely wrong, you know, state of affairs. And if you try to fix that, you know, fix means solid, right? It means stuck. It means in place. You know, fix is not the flow. A dam is fixed. Damnation is fixed. You know, stuck. It's bottled up. It's not flowing. It's not in the movement of creation. You know, it's stuck.
Yeah.
So whenever you feel stuck and you're trying to figure out the problem to unstick yourself, then you're trying to validate a fallen state of consciousness is the truth of who you are.
I feel that.
And so,
I feel that.
so if you try to fix yourself from the point of accepting the truth of yourself, that you're disabled. Now, you know, as soon as you realize you're unconscious, that's an acknowledgement of the fact that you are disabled, right? But you don't continue to own that as the defining fact of your personality and your identity. You know, you don't. That's a circumstance, a temporary circumstance. It's something that happened, and it can be gone in a fraction of a second as soon as you just open up and experience your wholeness again. So let's do that as a little exercise right now.
Okay.
Open up and experience your wholeness right now. Now your wholeness encompasses everything. So there's nothing that you can feel or imagine or conceive that your wholeness isn't there. So all of those solidities that you feel in yourself, those shutdowns, those pains, that unconsciousness, your wholeness is there. And so as soon as you feel that unconsciousness with your wholeness there in the same time and space, you feel that pain and the suffering and your wholeness and your radiance right there at the same time. Then that's where the flow begins. And you just stay in that experience of experiencing your experience of your life. As the flow. You stay in the opening of the flow. You allow everything to unwind. You allow this universe to be the way it is. And all of that suffering in your life was caused by your unwillingness for your life to be natural, for your life to be in a state of flow. You wanted to create something different, and you gummed things up, you damned yourself. Because if you're in the flow, and you're moving in wholeness and wisdom, then everything that comes up that's not quite right, you open, you embrace it, you feel it, you understand it, you let it go, and you make wise decisions about it. You know, that's so much change for me. But it's so necessary. Sounds like we got a rainstorm. So is there anything that we can add into this that makes it any better? You know, does it help to ask deities for assistance? You know, does it help to say, you know, God, Jesus, Mary, Buddha, Krishna, Kali? I'd like to wake up fully and completely now. Will you join the party, please? There should be a divine celebration with your awakening, and in a real awakening, I think you would be. That you'd be there with all of your eternal friends. Everybody celebrating the fact that you did it. Came here to be the embodiment of divine realization, and you did it. Against all odds, seemingly. Well, I guess it would be nice. Sometime to do a weekend retreat of this. You know, instead of doing it for an hour or two, you know, make it a day or a day and a half or 2-day event.
Yeah, that would be wonderful.
See how far. You know, because it seems like at the point that I get going and the flow's moving well, it's time to say goodnight. You know, what would it be like if we just stayed in that opening for
we started first thing in the morning.
for hours, you know,
Yeah.
hours and hours, you know, just kept opening further and further and further.
You should dance with that idea, like when I come to Mexico. We should see if we can get something going.
Absolutely.
It's probably really cool. And kind of just have like a weekend start early, and that way we're sitting in this kind of, because like right now I'm so relaxed, but like I can go to sleep, you know, I'm very much out of my head and conscious, but relaxed, you know.
Yeah.
I wonder what would happen if we did this like at 9 or 8 in the morning.
Yeah, we do the.
What state I would be in.
I think, yeah, I miss Palm Springs. You know, it would have been it would have been a wonderful and easy thing to do there. You know, again, and if we'd have done things small, we would have had plenty of time, and you know, we could have, you know, had at least have one group thing every weekend doing it.
That would have been lovely. Not just those Western experiences.
No, it would be one I would like to, yeah, I would like to find out where this goes with me leading something. You know, and so I've had a lot of experiences with other people doing it, and this, you know, this experience tonight, again, you know, it'd be nice if we did something that went on for 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 hours.
That would be dope. That would be really fun.
Yeah. Okay, so here's where we're wrapping up.
Okay.
A new beginning has begun. And finally, the day has come that you will have your time in the sun. The sun, you will find, is at the center of it all, within your heart. You'll end your fall. Open and be free, for in you today I see the new beginning, the new way, the new time is here and moving for you. Well, thank you, Ariel.
Thank you. I appreciated everything that you did. And thank you for challenging. I appreciate it.
Hey, you know what? You're a great sport. You know, you let me get into a flow and stay there, and that's a beautiful gift.
It's an honor. Thank you for reminding me that I'm bigger than the unconscious mind, and like it's just a beautiful reminder to be around someone who understands and brings me back each time I feel like I forgot.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you for that.
Yeah, of course. Of course. Well, good night, Ariel. I appreciate it.
I appreciate it. You have a blessed night.
I will. And so continue on. Now what we're doing is we're ending so that we can both sit in that flow and allow everything to move faster and faster and faster as you feel every barrier and limitation and pain and sorrow inside you as once that flow is moving, and it is, then you just stay in that awareness of everything, and it just flows It just gets absorbed by the flow and moves right through you.
Yeah.
It's just, ah, now it's a flow. You're no longer damned. It's a flow.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean that you're not waking up in painful circumstances, but now it's a flow. It's changing every moment now and getting better. Okay. Good night, Ariel.
Good night.
Talk to you soon. Bye.
Bye.
Well, I was going to end the stream, and then I thought, well, I wonder if there's anything else that should happen. I mean, I still feel limitation. My intent was to continue on with the feeling these contractions, you know, this pain in my body. And to be connected with that in the flow, you know, so that my body processes it is the right word. You know, it's just unprocessed consciousness. It got dammed up, damned emotions. So it's exciting. It's exciting to open to the flow and be in the flow. And as that flow is moving through us, it removes the definitions of who we are, erases them. So good luck. In realizing your truth that sets you free by allowing your circumstantial truth to be exactly the way that it is until it begins to flow. Then you stay in that embrace as the flow moves quicker and quicker and quicker through your body, cleansing you from within. Well, that's so much better. Thank you. If somebody's watching, thank you for watching. If it wasn't clear, everything I'm talking about, I'm saying so that you'd follow along and free yourself from whatever it is that you've limited yourself with. So good luck with that. Good luck with your freedom, with your truth, and with your circumstances no longer being defining of who and what you are.